I think we will start now. So welcome everyone to our session on discipline-specific guidance for DMPs. Next slide, Chen. So you can, so here are some housekeeping rules. Some of them are also in the chat already. So mute yourself when you're not talking and switch off your camera. So if you have, So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function. And for any other conversations, you can also use the chat as well. The link to the collaborative notes are in the chat as well. So please add your name, your affiliation, and your email address to the attendee list. Next slide. So we are still having a working meeting today, and therefore I will only go briefly through the agenda. And we want to start with a short introduction of the group and our work so far. Afterwards, I will give, Jessica will present our first draft of the online survey before we go into smaller discussions into 4 breakout rooms. And after the breakouts, we will have a short reporting back and time for general discussion and next steps. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here on the left side, you see all the co-chairs. At the moment, we are 8 co-chairs coming from different disciplines and having different research backgrounds. Our aim is the development of a discipline-specific guidance for DMPs to create a common understanding in and across disciplines for DMPs in general and in content aspects especially. And for this guidance, the starting point is the Science Europe template. So our group has at the moment 38 members, and we are having a co-chair meeting every 2 weeks. And we also offering public meeting every 8 weeks, so that the participation is not only possible during, it's also possible during the plenaries. So far, we participated in some workshop and presented the group already. So, for example, at the RDMO community tool meeting, at the eScience Days in 2021, together with the data domain protocols, and also within a DMP workshop series, which were running in Germany from the DINI Nestor AG. Next slide. Here is our working program. So the idea of this working group came up at the plenary P14 in Helsinki. And we had our first BOF session at P16. So we submitted a case statement and had to rework it a bit. And now 3 hours ago, we got the feedback from TAP, which was positive. And now we have to wait for the statement from the council to get endorsed and recognized. Hopefully they give us a go. And the third package is the one we are working at the moment. We are creating the online survey and still have a first draft of the questionnaire, which we will discuss with you later in the breakout sessions. And after this, to deepen and reflect the answers from the survey, we would like to give some workshops for different disciplines. And in the last steps, we want to process all the information and pack it together to the guidance for the different disciplines, which provided enough information. We also would like to publish the questionnaire later on so that it can be used for other disciplines to create their own guidance, when they are not depending in the survey. So now I told you a lot about our working group, and we still want to know a bit about you, and I hand over to Jasmine.
Just 1 second. Okay. I believe you are seeing my screen now. If you don't, please give it a shout. I see some thumbs up, so I'm assuming you are. That's great. So we just want to get to know you a little bit. Can you please go to menti.com and use the code 27471725. It's at the top of the screen also. Do you see the green slide with the question, or do you see, please go to Mentimeter first? Okay, just a moment. I think you are not seeing. One moment, please. Oh, no. Okay, wait.
You should be full
do it
screen.
again. Do you see the green screen with the answers popping? Yes, great. Okay, we have a very international group. That's great. I see we have quite some people from Europe. That's of course because it's a bit more Europe-friendly time, that we are aware of that. But thank you very much also for those I see from US and Canada for joining us. It's great to have you all here. It's nice. So far I count 34 people. And we are really great. We are really happy to have you on our session. I'm looking very forward to working together. What's the code again? So the code is on the top of the screen. I'm wondering if you don't see the screen then, because the code is, I will put it in the chat as well. Thank you very much, Daniela. All right, I will slowly move on because we have a couple of questions. It's great to know you. Okay, there are still a couple of answers coming. That's great. All right, so yes, indeed. Thank you very much. That's menti.com is the website, and that's the code for Menti. So the next question is, what's your discipline or your field of expertise? Okay, that's great to see. We have quite some variation. Wonderful. That's exactly what we would like to have. So I see life sciences, a lot of people also working in data management. So it's actually a great combination with all the disciplines. I see social sciences, humanities. So it's wonderful, really. Thank you for all for joining. It's really a lot, but I'm really happy to see it's a very diverse group. Perfect. Okay, so just in terms of time, I will move on to the next question. What's your role or function? We try to be as diverse as possible, but if you think none of these fit for you, of course, you can just choose the other one. So far, we see a lot of data support. So yeah, we have all sorts of different names, right? Data steward, data manager. So we try to find a common name, hopefully that's spelled that way as well. This is great to see. There's a lot of data support with us. Also, researcher, welcome. I mean, welcome to all of you, obviously. But it's good to see also we have other roles, founder, DMP tool provider, publisher, but with the data support being the most seats. Okay. That's great. So we want to ask you one more question. What is your main motivation today for joining this session? What do you expect to see? What do you expect to hear? What do you expect to learn? What do you expect to share with us? You can just write like a sentence or a couple of words. Curiosity. That's also how I join. I think many of us join a lot of sessions that way today. Another curiosity, learning more about the work. That's a very good one. How can this be sustainably? Updates. Very interested. Thank you. To follow the progress, what we have been doing. Indeed, we are very happy to work together with you and keep you up to date. Yeah, we also really want to indeed work on how to provide more disciplinary support and indeed how the Science Europe guidance will be adapted. Follow the progress, co-write recommendations. That's great, thank you. As a DMP2 provider, we have already, sorry, oh yeah. Okay. Okay, that's really great to hear. We can discuss also about RDA common standard for most next level DMPs. That's wonderful to have you as well here. Okay, that's great. So many different motivations. Really glad to hear all that. Thanks for joining us. So now I will stop sharing my screen so we can go ahead with the session. It's great to know you a little bit more. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. I'll be presenting our main point for today. So as Daniela showed, we had a couple milestones for this working group, and our first one is basically trying to identify, what's known, what's not known, and we figured the best way to go about that was by doing a survey. So we've created an initial version. Our intention is to have a survey, the survey be distributed to researchers of a variety of disciplines, as well as discipline-specific data stewards or any other interested parties that might be able to provide useful information. As we say, our goal, we want to try and gather information that's already known so that we can already get, a bit of a start on coming up with the discipline-specific guidance, but also especially important is where are the knowledge gaps in any given discipline? What are people missing in just generic, and how can we address that? Noticed through the previous plenary sessions and the public meetings how there does tend to be overlaps between disciplines, often with regards to the fact that similar kinds of data are used in different disciplines. So perhaps identifying where there are overlaps can also help us better address what the sort of the data-driven specific needs are, and maybe not have to make it so granular per discipline in terms of giving advice. And for our case statement, we focused on a specific number of disciplines because that's our given backgrounds, but we definitely want to address in the survey, are we missing any really relevant disciplines that aren't getting enough attention? And then obviously with the survey, the goal is that hopefully a few people that answer it will be willing to provide some contact information so that we can follow up with them in the future for the next milestone where we're gathering the expertise from the domain's experts. Next slide, please. So we've developed our first draft of the survey so far, and that's what we're going to discuss today in the breakout rooms. As a sort of guidance for coming up with this survey, we based it on the core requirements for data management plans. It's kind of how we've been guiding a lot of how we want to come up with this guidance, is to base it also on this. So we figured we may as well make the sections of the survey also follow that. At this point, we didn't include the sections on legal requirements nor on the responsibilities and resources. mainly because we weren't quite sure how to make that very discipline specific, but perhaps that can be a discussion point. And yeah, we've written the questions in such a way to try and discern where the discipline specific needs are. We could ask just very generic questions that would be relevant to any kind of DMP, but we wanted to really parse out what are the needs of any given discipline. And we didn't want to make it fully open answer because it would make it quite difficult to analyze, but also didn't want to have completely closed-ended questions because we're trying to collect as much information as possible. So we've written the questions in such a way that, there's a few options and then a lot of, if someone says, yes, I use this standard, and then they have the option to choose yes, and then describe which standard that they're using. So in our presentation slides, we've linked the first draft, and it's also included in the collaborative notes. So that's the read-only version that you can find. Next slide, please. So now we're going to go on to the discussion for discussing the survey, sorry. So in the collaborative notes, you'll see because we kind of have to put you in breakout rooms sort of manually rather than randomly, like with Zoom, you'll see in the notes that basically based on your family name, then you'll be picked into a given breakout room. So just go check the collaborative notes to see where you should go. And then to find your breakout room, just scan down at the very, very bottom of this page, A, B, C, D. Each breakout room has a collaborative document as well that has a copy of the survey questions in it. And so that's fair game to, put your own notes in and also make recommendations directly on the questions. And we also ask each group to start at a different section of the survey because, we only have so much time, so you might not be able to get through everything. So you'll see in the collaborative notes and also in the each individual room where you should start. It's highlighted. And yeah, so please take a look, at the survey. What do you find the questions useful? Are we missing anything? Are there topics that should be addressed? That kind of thing. And so please report your findings, your discussions in the Google Doc that pertains to your breakout room. We'll meet back here in 45 minutes. So it's now 5 past 3. So let's meet back at 10 to 4. And there's no way for us to call you back from the breakout room. So just there'll be one of each of us in the room to keep an eye on the clock. At the bottom of each breakout, there is a that'll take you back to this room. So once we close off each of those sessions, just click on that link and it'll take you back. We'll talk to you soon.